So in the absence of any cricket action on Sunday, which is in itself unusual, but no worries, we're supposed to have you covered regardless of the sport. And right now, well, it's tennis fever, and Wimbledon final is a big Wimbledon final, really is incoming and loading. It's the past versus the future, or if you dare say the present versus the future. Djokovic, Alcaraz, big match, one that I think most people were expecting would be the final, and well, that's exactly how it's worked out.
Yes, and it's going to be a very historic moment if Djokovic ends up winning this match, and just as historic for Alcaraz as well, because this will be
his first Wimbledon.
His first Wimbledon, and he's been unable to do so. And I think he hasn't won against Djokovic in Wimbledons yet.
No, he's not. He's beaten Djokovic once, and that too was in. They have their head-to-head is very interesting because they played exactly 2 matches against each other. One was in an ATP Masters event, which Alcaraz won. One was, of course, this year in the semis of the French Open, which Djokovic won convincingly. So really, when it comes to Grand Slams, Djokovic is very much the king. Of course, Alcaraz, we know, is someone who you cannot be taking lightly. But the real question, and one which you can see in the title of our video as well, is that can Alcaraz really be the one to actually break the streak? Because again, Djokovic has been imperious in 2023, won the Australian Open on a canter, same with the French Open. At this point, looks likely to do the calendar slam if no one could stop him. Alcaraz is probably seen as one of those few in the next gen who can really lay that challenge down to him.
I mean, yes, Carlos Alcaraz, with the kind of mentality that is coming in from, it's kind of very, very exciting to see what he said before Wimbledon even started. He was quite ready for a Djokovic final.
Absolutely.
Considering the fact that he had already decided that it was going to be him and Djokovic in the final, and he manifested it. And let's see what happens from here on, because it's going to be quite an exciting match to watch, because Djokovic is the Wimbledon king, but Carlos Alcaraz is coming in as the prince.
The prince could be very well looking to take out the king, and in doing so actually may have inadvertently lent a little bit of spice to this context, because of course Alcaraz's father was caught actually recording Novak Djokovic in practice. So that was something. I mean, Djokovic is not happy about it.
Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting debate to have and a conversation to have right now as well. Because, it's when we look at it from a player's perspective, it could be, even from Djokovic's perspective, it could be called cheating. But of course, there are no rules against it, because Djokovic had been practicing, in public, in the open. And Carlos's father was there recording Djokovic's practice sessions, which did not end well with Djokovic, who asked the Wimbledon chiefs to give him some privacy during practice time. I don't know if his wish was granted or not after that, but it is quite an interesting thing to see. But Carlos Alcaraz had nothing to hide, and he said that he just wanted to see what Djokovic was doing up in the practice sessions, and let's see what happens. I think I'm very excited to see what happens tonight.
Yeah, because I think, I understand why it is Alcaraz did what he did. Again, Djokovic is that kind of player who, again, if I analyze right now, has no real significant weakness. And the thing with him is that the longer the tennis match goes, the better he tends to look more often than not. Because again, this is a man who in 2019, when he won the title, was down 2 championship points against Federer, turned that around, won the title. You don't see that happening very often. When it comes to mentality, Djokovic arguably is second to none. And for me, and again, this is just something that I had mentioned yesterday in another preview we'd done, was that, for Alcaraz, the key will be if he can get the match done quickly. So in 3 sets, dare I say, or maybe in 4 sets, or dare I say 3 sets. Because again, if you go back in history, the last time Djokovic actually lost a final like this, 2021 US Open, Daniil Medvedev hammered him in straight sets. I think that 3 or 4 sets should be what Djokovic or what Alcaraz is targeting, because the longer it goes, Djokovic just seems to, some switch seems to flick in his head, and he just becomes unbeatable the longer the match goes.
I know, and when talking about Djokovic's, successive streak that we're seeing at this moment right now since 2021.
This will be his 5th straight. 19, 18, 19, 20, then 21. In fact, 19, 20, 21, 22.
He's been unbeaten since.
Exactly.
The Wimbledon. And he is in for quite a lot of records if he does win this one. He'll equal Roger Federer
Yeah, for 8 Wimbledon titles.
8 Wimbledon titles. That's not a small feat, you know.
Exactly, and don't forget he'll also go level with Margaret Court for 24 Grand Slams. And again, for Djokovic, I'd say the feat is even greater because again, 12 of
Open
Court's
era.
yes, exactly, 12 of Court's Grand Slams of the 24 she won came in the amateur era, where only amateurs were allowed to compete. Djokovic though has won 24 in the Open era, and that is massive. You cannot discount just how big it is because not only will he be going level with Court, he'll also be going past Serena Williams. So it's going there, and really at this point, Djokovic for me definitely has to be the odds-on favorite.
He will surpass.
No two ways about it.
He will surpass Serena Williams.
He will, yes, because he's level with her already, 23. So I think for me right now, Djokovic definitely starts the odds-on favorite. But really, you know, we've seen stranger things happen at the highest level of the game. Tennis can be a weird and wonderful sport in that regard sometimes. So when you're least expecting it, an upset happens.
And at this point, you know, a lot of people are saying that if someone, you know, is capable enough of breaking Djokovic's streak, it's going to be Carlos Alcaraz.
Absolutely.
And it's going to be quite exciting to see if that really happens.
Yeah, I definitely. I think if you're looking at the younger generation, you know, you've seen Djokovic come up against a few of them, the likes of Zverev when he was fit. Zverev, to be fair, did beat him in the Olympics. Medvedev beat him in the US Open final. So Djokovic is not unbeatable, but I think a lot of the younger generation still hasn't quite reached that level where they can consistently be challenging him. You would remember in the semis, he was up against someone like Yannick Sinner. Sinner is also seen as one of those young prospects who's very, very good. But he just couldn't hold a candle to Djokovic. Djokovic is operating on another level. Alcaraz really the only one who's shown that he has the beating of Djokovic in the past, and he has that, I don't know, it's like this generational talent kind of aura that Alcaraz gives off when he's fully fit. Of course, my big worry with Alcaraz always is fitness. Because if you go back and watch even that match against, which they had in the French Open semi-final, Alcaraz was winded after a point. And I don't blame him because he's struggled with injuries recently after he won the US Open, out injured, couldn't compete in the year, and was unable to compete in the Australian Open also because of injuries. He's had a long layoff. French Open, I think he's still kind of finding his rhythm. Now though, he's found that rhythm, and hopefully he has the stamina to go the distance, because again, Djokovic is the king in those regards.
Of course, I mean, Djokovic is older than Carlos and still is the much fitter, you know, version of himself. I think he's the best version of himself right now, and it is definitely at his peak at the moment. And I think we're all rooting for Djokovic, but then again, you also have to go for the underdog.
I'm rooting for the underdog.
You are?
Yeah, I am. I'm really going to be rooting for Alcaraz, and I'll admit a little bit of bias here because Federer was the person who got me into tennis. I don't want to see Djokovic going level with him. I'm sorry, I just don't.
Bias.
No. Yeah, I'm very biased in this regard. But also because I want to see someone new win. Alcaraz is someone who's shown that potential, shown that promise that he can be, you know, that figurehead who really can take the sport forward. But the next gen will not be handed anything by the current one. They're going to have to break that glass ceiling themselves and hope that they can actually, you know, let's say grab that brass ring and show that they show that, look, my time is now. You're not stopping me. That's the only way I see Djokovic's, let's say, this run actually stopping.
Yeah, so
Alcaraz is going to have to play out of his skin.
Absolutely, and I think that brings us to a conclusion.
In fact, if we look at the comments, we have one from Vaishnav who's saying Carlos is my favorite. Vaishnav, I'm with you. In fact, even previously, I've had a lot of people tell me that Alcaraz could very well be that guy. A lot of people, I don't know whether it's, let's say, their fandom for Rafa Nadal or Federer, or maybe just the fact that they want to see someone new win. But I have seen a lot of people say that, you know, they really want Alcaraz to win. And I do understand. I do understand the sentiment. You do want to see young guys win, but I think for Alcaraz, he's going to be having to play the best tennis of his career if he has to win this match.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's our take on it. You guys can let us know in the comments who your favorites are as well. We love hearing from you. And don't forget, if you enjoyed this video, to like it, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel, tap the bell icon. Also, don't forget to follow us across social media, and
don't forget to download the Sportstek app.
Plus, if you're already on the channel, you can go right ahead, check out some other videos that we've done through the day. Right now, though, from Gargi and me, it's goodbye.